Chapter 5 of the Hampstead Mystery. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Lars Rolander. The Hampstead Mystery by John Watson and Arthur Rees. Chapter 5. What is your name? James Hill, sir. That is an alias. What is your real name? Inspector Chippenfield glared fiercely at the butler in order to impress upon him the fact that subterfuge was useless. Henry Field, sir, replied the man after some hesitation. Inspector Chippenfield opened the capacious pocketbook which he had placed before him on the desk when the butler had entered in response to his summons, and he took from it a photograph which he handed to the man he was interrogating. "Is that your photograph?" he asked. Police photographs taken in jail for purposes of future identification are always far from flattering, and Henry Field, after looking at the photograph handed to him, hesitated a little before replying. "Yes, sir." "So, Henry Field, in November 1909 you were sentenced to 3 years for robbing your master, Lord Melhurst?" "Yes, sir." "Let me see," said the inspector, as if calling on his memory to perform a reluctant task. "It was a diamond scarf pin and a gold watch. Lord Melhurst had come home after a good day at Epsom and a late supper in town. Next morning he missed his scarf pin and his watch. He thought he had been robbed at Epsom or in town. He was delightfully vague about what had happened to him after his glorious day at Epsom, but unfortunately for you the taxicab driver who drove him remembered seeing the pin on him when he got out of the cab. As you had waited up for him, suspicion fell on you, and you were arrested and confessed. I think those are the facts, Field?" "Yes, sir," said the distressed-looking man who stood before him. "I think I had the pleasure of putting you through," added the inspector. The butler understood that in police slang putting a man through meant arresting him and putting him through the criminal court into jail. He made the same reply. "Yes, sir." "I'm glad to see you bear me no ill will for it," said Inspector Chippenfield. "You don't, do you?" "No, sir." "I never forget a face," pursued the officer, glancing up at the face of the man before him. "When I saw you yesterday I knew you again in a moment, and when I went back to the Yard I looked up your record." The butler was doubtful whether any reply was called for, but after a pause, as an endorsement of the inspector's gift for remembering faces, he ventured on. "Yes, sir." "And how did you, an ex-convict, come to get into the service of one of His Majesty's judges?" "He took me in," replied the butler. "You mean that you took him in?" replied the inspector with a pleasant laugh at his own witticism. "No, sir, I didn't take him in," declared the butler. He had not joined in the laugh at the inspector's joke. "Get away with you," said the Inspector Chippenfield. "You don't expect me to believe that you told him you were an ex-convict? You must have used forged references." "No, sir. He knew I was a—" Hill hesitated at referring to himself as an ex-convict, though he had not shrunk from the description by Inspector Chippenfield. "He knew that I had been in trouble. In fact, sir, if you remember, I was tried before him." "The devil you were!" exclaimed Inspector Chippenfield in astonishment. "And he took you into his service after you had served your sentence? He must have been mad. How did you manage it?" "After I came out I found it hard to get a place," said Hill, "and when Sir Horace's butler died I wrote to him and asked if he would give me a chance. I had a wife and child, sir, and they had a hard struggle while I was in prison. My wife had a shop, but she sold it to find money for my defence. Sir Horace told me to call on him, and after thinking it over he decided to engage me. He was a good master to me." "And how did you repay him?" exclaimed Inspector Chippenfield sternly. "By murdering him?" The butler was startled by the suddenness of the accusation, as Inspector Chippenfield intended he should be. "Me?" he exclaimed. "As sure as there is a God in heaven, I have nothing to do with it." "That won't go down with me, Field," said the police officer, giving the wretched man another prolonged, penetrating look. "It's true, it's true," he protested wildly. "I had nothing to do with it. I couldn't do a thing like that, sir. I couldn't kill a man if I wanted to. I haven't the nerve. But I knew I would be suspected," he added in a tone of self-pity. "Oh, you did?" replied Inspector Chippenfield. "And why was that? Because of my past. Where were you on the date of the murder?" "In the morning I came over here to look round as usual, and I found everything all right." "You did that every day while Sir Horace was away?" "Not every day, sir. 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays." "Did you enter the house or just look round?" "I always came inside." "What for?" "To make quite sure that everything was all right." "And was everything all right the morning of the 18th?" "Yes, sir." "You are quite sure of that? You looked round carefully?" "Well, sir, I just gave a glance round, for of course I didn't expect anything would be wrong." Inspector Chippenfield fixed a steady glance on the butler to ascertain if he was conscious of the trap he had avoided. "Did you look in this room?" "Yes, sir. I made a point of looking in all the rooms." "You are sure that Sir Horace's dead body was not lying here?" Inspector Chippenfield pointed beside the desk where the body had been found. "Oh, no, sir. I'd have seen it if it had." "There was no sign anywhere of his having returned from Scotland?" "No, sir." "You didn't know he was returning?" "No, sir." "What time did you leave the house?" "It would be about 12:15, sir." "And what did you do after that?" "I went home and had my dinner. In the afternoon I took my little girl to the Zoo. I'd promised her for a long time that I would take her to the Zoo." "And what did you do after visiting the Zoo?" "We went home for supper. After supper my wife took the little girl to the Picture Palace in Camden Road. It was quite a holiday, sir, for her." "And what did you do while your wife and child were at the pictures?" "I stayed at home and minded the shop. When they came home we all went to bed. My wife will tell you the same thing." "I've no doubt she will," said the inspector dryly. "Well, if you didn't murder Sir Horace yourself, when did you first hear that he had been murdered?" "I saw it in the papers yesterday evening." "And you immediately came up here to see if it was true?" "Yes, sir." "And you were taken to the Hampstead police station to make a statement as to your movements on the day and night of the murder?" "Yes, sir." "And the story you have just told me about the Zoo and the pictures and the rest is virtually the same as the statement you made at the station?" "Yes, sir." "Do you know if Sir Horace kept a revolver?" "I think he did, sir." "Where did he keep it?" "In the second drawer of his desk, sir." "Well, it's gone," remarked Inspector Chippenfield without opening the drawer. "What sort of a